All right, folks, location freedom, time freedom, financial freedom. You're going to learn about all three of them from an expert and a seven-figure attractor right after this on Cliff's Notes. Real estate agents, are you struggling with the day-to-day grind, dialing for dollars, putting in hours of floor time with little to show for it? Are you looking for tips, tricks, and tactics to accelerate your career as an agent that will have you closing more homes, working with more clients, and earning more money than ever before? Hi, my name's Cliff Freeman, and I've spent the past 2 decades of my real estate career running one of the top brokerages in DFW and personally coaching over 1,000 high-performing real estate professionals across North America. I created this podcast to share the strategies and tactics you need to explode your real estate business. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. Yes, I do guarantee it. And we got a little party at the beach going on today. It's actually at the Yacht Club, but let me introduce my special co-host here is weekly, Mr. C3. Good to see you, brother. Let's do the what do you call that? The Corona bump. Okay.
Corona bump.
That's it for sure. Travis, how you doing today, my friend?
Hey, man, I am feeling good. I cannot complain. Yeah. We'll do the air high five for the
air
Corona.
Five. Yeah. That's it. The Michael Jordan high five.
There we go.
Yeah. Speaking of Michael Jordan, and I know that we've got some serious things happening around us right now, and it's this crazy, terrible virus that's floating around. We've got the Major League Baseball now just announced the season is canceled. Hockey, basketball, all of the March Madness is going to be. Who knows? They're going to play if they're going to play the games. We'll see. The Masters, you said, was canceled. Masters was canceled. Yeah. Wow, and that really it's sad. I mean, a lot of people are. This is a very difficult, tough financial time. And so I want to try to reach out to everyone today and encourage you that this will pass. It's temporary, and we're all going to recover from it. And as we do, maybe we can set some new goals and have a new outlook on things. This is a great time to reflect. And coincidentally, I have a gentleman that is out. He's in the Yacht Club in Palmas del Mar. Let's see if we can bring in Mr. Scott Lewis. How you doing out there, Scott?
Doing wonderful. How are you guys? Cliff and Cliff, good to see you.
C2, C3. Yeah, man. Hey, I love that virtual background you have. That's really pretty.
I take this with me everywhere I go.
So tell us, where are you right now, Scott?
So I'm in Puerto Rico in an area called Palmas del Mar, which is about 45 minutes from San Juan on the Caribbean side of the island. If you look, I think you can probably see a rock right behind me. If you look just past that, you can see the island of Vieques, which actually has one of the, you have to look really hard, get your binoculars out. But it's one of the top 10 beaches in the world right there behind us.
Wow. Is that right?
Is that true?
What are we doing here, bro?
What the heck, Dad?
Yeah, Travis, can you see if you can book us? They got cheap flights going on right now.
You know what? We may be able to green screen it behind you or something like that.
I want the scratch and sniff. Can I get that?
There we go.
Yeah. All right. Hey, well, Scott, it's a pleasure, man, and an honor to have you with us today on the show. And gosh, we go back a long way, and it's always great. We just got back from Mexico with you not too long ago, and what a pleasure it is. And I'm so excited for the audience today. For those of you who've never met Scott Lewis, he's one of the smartest guys you're going to meet when it comes to making money, and I mean that. And what we want to do today is unpack a little bit about what he's done and some of the great things, the great vision that he has, and see if we can help some folks out in the audience, and maybe have you guys reconsider your goals and think a little bit bigger by the time we're done with this. So Scott, let's do this. Let's get a little bit of history on you. I know about you, but there's a bunch of folks out in the audience who may not have met you. Give us a little bit of background about your days and tell us about the days that your DNA was forming, and what is it that put Scott Lewis together that made you who you are today?
Well, that's a great question. Who knows? But I grew up on a cotton farm out in West Texas, and I can tell you one thing, growing up out there in the in the dry air of West Texas. You didn't have this kind of view at all. And, so I was highly motivated to get out of there, even though I love my roots. I'm very appreciative of the way I grew up and starting to work at a very, very young age and learning a tremendous work ethic from my father. That's one thing you get when you grow up on a farm is you learn how to work hard. And you also have to learn how to work smart. Like all industries, it's changing. And my family's still in that business. I'm super proud of them and for everything they've done. Wasn't my cup of tea. And so I ventured out, went to school at Texas Tech University and graduated and went on from there. And, I've never officially worked for anyone. I've always owned my own company from day one. Started my first business when I was in college and sold that the day I graduated from college for over 6 figures, and was able to parlay that into some other businesses that did pretty well and some not so well, right? And we can talk about both, but the beautiful thing is I did get the spirit of the entrepreneur, right? And it's a beautiful thing when you get that inside of you, and you're surrounded with people like you guys, that have that spirit and energy, and it's an incredible time to be an entrepreneur right now. And so I love what I do. I love where I'm at now, and I truly enjoy helping other people that have that same mindset, including my 2 boys that are both in those formidable years, just getting out of college, and one's in college. And they call me all the time. They were calling me yesterday and asking me about the stock market. I'm like, God, who knows, right? I mean, but it's fun, and it's fun to have 2 kids that are looking up to me as entrepreneurs and wanting to go that way. And I know I see that with you guys, and I'm so I see what you 2 have together, and it inspires me. I love that the 2 of you, father and son, work together. What a great tandem duo you are, and I'm honored to be on your show. Thank you for having me.
Well, Scott, appreciate those kind words.
Thank you,
and
Scott.
I take a knee and pinch myself for a lot of reasons every morning. One of them is because this guy sitting on my left here, it's kind of a dad's dream, I guess, aside from wanting to own a bar for a lot of people, having your son, be in business with you, your daughter, or, just your family in general. In fact, he's got a sister who's also out at Texas Tech, and he has a stepsister out there that's at Tech. And, we're hoping that all of them, come into the family business here. And it really is a dream come true, to build a legacy for everyone in the family and so forth. But I got to tell you, it wouldn't have happened for me had it not been for that day that Brent Gove came and tracked me down and told me about a little company called EXP back in 2016, I guess. We'll talk some more about that in a little bit. But this is really interesting to hear, because you and I are kind of kindred spirits. We have a lot of things in common, and the only problem is that you're on the beach and I'm sitting here in Dallas right now. That's the thing I'm having to choke down. But
I think you can get some cheap flights right now. We can fix that real easy.
Yeah. We will come out and visit you, that's for sure. So in this journey, this has been a long road from you. And you talk about entrepreneurs, and I think you and I both walk with a little bit of a limp. We call it the entrepreneur's limp, because we've been in a few train wrecks. Looking at you now, you'd never know that, but I'm going to put you on the spot here and ask you if you would take us back to one of those dark days, Scott, when you were doing the entrepreneur thing, and maybe some of us wake up one day and we don't know how we're going to make payroll, but can you share with us one of the things that maybe you don't like to talk about very often?
Wow, there's a few of those. Yeah, for sure. The first one that comes to mind is I actually owned an exotic animal game park in Houston, Texas, and this was back in I think I bought into that in 1992 with a partner, and serious investment, a lot of money. And if you were in Houston in '94, you remember the flood where it rained 36 inches in 3 days, and literally lost everything I had in one weekend. And it just annihilated our business. We had over 1,000 African hoofstock, lions, tigers, leopards, zebras, elephants, giraffes, the whole 9 yards, and it was gone. And as an entrepreneur and someone that ran that business, it was devastating. And so, and there are a lot of things that come to mind when you talk about, dark days. But you know what? That's what sculpts us. That's what makes us who we are. I'm very now appreciative of those things, and I learned some really difficult and hard lessons through those things. I've heard, lots of different sayings, but we are made through our defeats. We are sculpted in those times when we're challenged the most. And, if you've ever been an entrepreneur, you've experienced that, and you know that. And for people that are afraid of that, maybe it relates to what we're going through right now with this coronavirus. You can look back 2008, doesn't seem that long ago for those of us that are in real estate, and realize how quickly things can change, right? I mean, I had a very thriving business one day, and on Friday it starts raining, and Monday morning I'm so far in debt I can't even see my way out, right? And so that's happened a few times with different businesses. It just happens, and you learn lessons through that. You learn how to diversify. You learn how to build residual incomes. You learn how to build multiple revenue streams. All of those things come into play as an entrepreneur when you've been challenged and when you experience that heartache and that defeat, right? And so, but we just keep shooting the ball, and we just, you deal with it, right? And that's where we're at today. You deal with it. We can't change what's happening in the market. We can't change what's happening with the airlines. We can't change what's going to happen with toilet paper in the grocery store, right? I don't know if you guys are making toilet paper, but I'm not, right? So, there are things that you're going to deal with, and, my God, this has happened in a week. So here we are.
And that's true. And, if you recall, back when, things started to fall apart in 2008, it happened pretty quickly then too, and the stock market, the pendulum tends to swing to extremes, number one. And number two is the stock market operates at a clip that's much faster than the real estate market. I mean, stocks trade in microseconds, houses trade in weeks or sometimes months, right? So
yeah,
let's
exactly.
Let's see if I'd like to dig into your wisdom and your years of experience, Scott, and your knowledge, and ask you what you think is ahead of us. What's the road we're looking at here in the next few months in the real estate market?
Well, I think it's pretty apparent to me that it's going to be a little choppy for the next few months. There's going to be certain markets that are going to get hit harder than others. The investment market may speed up a little bit. There may be buying opportunities. I think people that are out looking for dream homes are probably not going to be doing that as much. I think the people that, like you mentioned before, people that are being moved by corporations, that's probably going to be slowing down some. So the opportunity is going to shift. It's going to move. But you also understand when things like this happens, demand gets built back up, right? And so there's always a pent-up demand that's building when there's a depression. So I always try to look to the positive and go, what can I do right now to regroup? What at this time can I, it's maybe a great time to pull out your American Express, and see what things you're spending money on that you could cut, little things, right? But, maybe it's a good time, because when you're growing and building so fast, sometimes we don't pay attention to some of those outgoing expenses. So now is the time to really get focused on what you're spending money on. Be sure you're keeping your books really clean. Get refocused on your goals, because it will bounce back. It always does. And when it comes back, it's probably going to come back stronger. So I look at it as a time to get prepared, right? Maybe it's, if you go away on a sabbatical, I don't know if you've ever done that, but take time off and you recharge the batteries. So now's a really good time. Recharge your batteries, get refocused, get re-energized, take care of your health, right? The most important thing that we have. Focus on, maybe you haven't worked out in a while. Maybe this is a good time to, refocus on some of the, maybe it's family. Maybe it's a time to recharge some of those relationships. So there's a lot of things you can do positively in a time like this. and don't focus on the negative. Don't sit there and watch CNBC all day. You might be thinking about jumping off a cliff. I mean, that's probably not the best use of your time, because you're not going to change what the markets are going to do. So I just say, use it as a positive. Hang around positive people. Be careful who you're listening to, and focus on the things to come.
Well, you hit on several things there. First of all, I'm going to say, God is fair and he's good, and he always reminds us who's in charge. And it's times like these that, we just got to know who's in charge. The second thing is I'm expecting my phone to ring here as soon as the show is over. My wife's calling me going, hey, let's go through your American Express bill. We need to figure out what's got to go. But we went through this, and again, Scott, back in 2008 and 9, and one of my heroes, Gary Keller, wrote several great books. One of them was called Shift. I'm sure you read it. And it was all about how to remargin your business, what to look out for, and so forth. And the funny thing about it was the company that you and I now hang our hats with, and we're so excited and proud to be part of it, eXp Realty, was born out of those times when Glenn Sanford had the vision. And he left KW back in 2008. It was right when all the proverbial poo-poo was hitting the fan, right? And he said, I want to build a company and create a company that will not only survive times like this, but will thrive. And as a result, that's how he came up with the idea of having a totally cloud-based experience for all the agents and employees. He wanted to tear down the franchise barriers and make it much easier, make a much more nimble company. And then he just basically split the brokerage model up and turned it upside down and changed the compensation for agents. So I want to hear your thoughts, Scott, on how eXp is really built and geared to handle times like these.
Wow. I give Glenn Sanford a lot of credit being an entrepreneur, because, so many times as visionaries, so many times as an entrepreneur and a true visionary, you create something that's well before its time, and it doesn't always make it to fruition because it's before its time and there's not enough use for it. And I know of a lot of examples of that. And yet he's weathered some storms, and, he can tell you some stories of when he started this company, and, but he kept the dream alive. He kept it going. I remember when I first joined eXp, and they said, well, you got to log into this eXp world, and you get this avatar guy, and you're going to walk around and communicate in this world. And we would get in there, and if you got over 100 people in it, it would crash. Right. And so everybody, it would have to log back in and start back over. But when you log back in, you never know or never knew where you were going to be in the world. And so then you had to go walk around and find everybody. And it was just kind of wild. But, now here we are today with Verbella, and, light years ahead of everyone else as far as a virtual campus. I'm sure Verbella's phone is ringing off the wall right now for people like schools and federal, offices, and anyone that can, lots of people are sending their employees home. I know a friend of mine just sent one of their employees, just heard that his daughter got sent home to work from home. I heard about that this morning. I'm sure that's happening everywhere. And, there's a place for everything, but we realized 10 years ago when I owned a Century 21 franchise, top producers weren't coming into the office. They were out in the field. They were either working from a Starbucks, or they were meeting people out in the field, or they were doing things remotely. Then they just didn't have all the tools. Now eXp has come together, built, like you said, so well, built in a time where the market was at its lowest. And I've been saying since I've been at eXp for 4 or 5 years that the next downturn will be the big, you used the word shift in the book by Gary Keller. The next downturn will be the big shift for eXp, and eXp will explode in the next downturn. And I even went as far as to say, we will be interviewing agents that want to come here at some point, because we won't be able to handle the growth for the people that are coming. And everybody, no, you're crazy, you're nuts. Well, maybe not, right? I mean, because my phone the last 3 days has been nonstop with people that I haven't talked to in years coming back to the table going, man, I should have listened to you. I just had lunch with some people downstairs 4 years ago that owned a big Century 21 in Breckenridge, Colorado. I called them 4 years ago. Timing wasn't right, but they're sitting there telling me just now, man, we would give anything if we would have listened to you 4 years ago, right? So shift. Things are happening. Yes, we are in the perfect place in this storm, I believe, as a company, and we're going to help a lot of people. We're going to help a lot of agents in the process, and I'm humbled and excited to be a part of it.
Well, Scott, it's just to hear the stories. And I recall, a little over 3 years ago when I came on board, and, we've all been trying to deal with the issues that really Glenn figured out how to solve. And one of them is building a sustainable company in a very volatile environment. And, the fact that we've eliminated, I guess if you wanted to compare apples and apples, approximately $700 million in fixed overhead that probably our biggest competitor has, just makes us, gives us the ability to be able to, to pivot and do the things that we need to do. I'm so proud of this company, this is not we're not promoting stocks here or talking about EXP stock, but I do just want to, really just give a shout out to corporate. We showed a positive earnings for the first time, and the street had been expecting that a long time. Unicorns typically don't show earnings until they get much further down the trail here, but here we are at 25,000 agents, and we're already showing. I mean, first time in history that I can think of a brokerage, growing this fast that was able to produce those kinds of results. So. It's so coincidental that it would happen. It's such a crazy time that we're experiencing now. And then here we are, we're about to go into the meat of the coconut, the center of the storm here with this coronavirus thing. And, we're the best positioned, company to ride it out. So I'm as equally as excited as you are. And also just super proud of this tremendous leadership team that we have that's at the helm right now that's guiding us through this. I understand that my son was telling me, what'd you say about Glenn? He's where is he now?
Well, he just posted a video this morning being in Australia, and he's talking about how he's going to, kind of start working more with Virbela and working with other companies to try to expand and, offer that software and platform to these other entities,
right?
Because they're handicapped. They can't go into work. I mean,
that's right.
They need a solution.
Well, and Scott, you were mentioning your sons at Tech. We've got two girls at Tech, and we were talking earlier about the letter that the president of Texas Tech sent out. They're extending spring break through March 30th.
Right.
And after that, they're not going to allow kids in the classroom. They're going to have to come up with some type of an online system so that they can continue the education without having the human contact. So you look at those types of opportunities. I mean, we've already got the United States. The military is in our software. Universities, big universities are. The future for that type of being able to come in that and it's built and do it in a quick measure here is really an unfair advantage for a company like Virbela. Where do you see the potential for that? Because that's, for those of us who are shareholders, if we don't just own the real estate company, we're shareholders in EXP World Holdings, which includes Virbela. I mean, what do you think the potential is for that thing?
Who knows? I mean, but it's certainly all of a sudden becoming a hot topic, isn't it? I mean, and let's look at the flip side. The flip side is if you're a small brokerage right now and, you have 20 agents or 40 agents or 60 agents, you've got a fixed overhead. And I guarantee you're losing sleep at night trying to figure out and wonder, how am I going to pay this overhead? Because it's really hard, as you've been in that situation, to cut that overhead, to all of a sudden just get rid of a lease or to get rid of, all of the expenses that go along with that. And I would hate to be in that position right now thinking, if we do have a slip in the market which now usually is our best season, right? We're going into the best time and the best season of the year. And now we're looking at something totally disrupting that and cutting into that. So what does that do to our sales? And then if you've got a fixed overhead on top of that, wow, that's scary. So the good news is, hey, Vervella, may not be the ultimate solution for everything, but it does allow us to continue to do what we do, and it allows us to continue to communicate and have a base where we can go and get basic business done and communicate and get those needs met that otherwise you might not be able to do if you got to shut your office down. So I see huge roll-ins of small and medium-sized brokerages happening through this summer if we do see a decline.
Yeah, well, it's pretty doggone good Donkey Kong technology, isn't it?
It is.
So
you call it whatever you want, but it works.
let me. That's a joke in case you guys missed an inside joke around our company. So let me play the devil's advocate here, Scott, just for a minute. Let's say that I'm a small brokerage owner, and you're telling me that I can operate my business without having a brick and mortar office. How in the world does that work, Scott?
Well, it's really simple. I mean, with Vervella, you have all of the basics of your company are met with EXP. So I always said, EXP is the perfect platform for any brokerage of any size, really, if you want to expand. Because if you've ever owned a brokerage, especially a franchise where you're locked in to a territory and you can only, recruit agents in that territory. And we could apply this to any franchise of any business, but specifically real estate, where you're locked into that territory. Now you can leverage the platform of EXP and build anywhere and get rid of the brick and mortar overhead. And, I've rolled in, a lot of brokerages since I've been here, and that's their biggest thing is, well, how do I take the haircut, the short-term haircut, so that I can benefit long-term from EXP? Well, now they may be forced into taking the haircut, right? And that's the thing is, some people had the vision to do it early. Now others will be forced into it because they won't have that ability, to do it on a planned timeline. And so, look, doing business at EXP is really simple. You can pop in there anytime from anywhere with an internet connection. You can go into the accounting office. You can go into the onboarding office. You can go into agent attraction office. You could walk into your state broker's office. Heck, I could walk into one of my team's office. I can build my own team office. I can communicate literally in 10 or 15 minutes what might have taken me. And I didn't even mention training, right? So, I mean, we're training thousands of agents now on a daily basis with ongoing trainings in the world from anywhere. And, the time that you save, because time is the biggest thing that, we all have the same amount of. Yet when you're going into an office in Plano, you got to deal with the traffic. You got to deal with putting, gas in the car. You got to dress up. I'm a little dressed up. This is dressed up for Puerto Rico, by the way. But, I dressed up for you guys. I don't have on my T-shirt and my sandals today. But, you literally can work from anywhere, and that's a cool thing. But the big thing is you can expand everywhere, right? And so it eliminates those barriers of entry for those visionaries. If you're an entrepreneur, if you're a baller, there is no better place to come than EXP to grow a business. And I think that's proven. And there's a reason why EXP is the fastest growing real estate company ever. And we still haven't. We've done this in the up market. Now you're going to really see it explode, in my opinion, because of the market we're in.
Well, okay, so I'm going to continue to play this small brokerage owner here. So, okay, maybe I can see why it's better for me, Scott, but why specifically is it going to be better for my broker, for my agents?
Well, if you love your agents, it's the perfect thing to do. Number one, it gives them the same opportunity you have as a broker. And, I think we all recognize that agents are getting wiser and they're realizing that there's more opportunities out there. They're going to get stock in the company a lot of different ways. I know agents on my team that have gotten close to $1 million worth of stock since coming on board EXP, just doing what they would have been doing anyway, right? And so there's all kinds of ways to get stock in the company and build the company if you choose to. You know, a lot of agents don't take advantage of that, but some do, and it's very rewarding if you wanted to do that. The training that's available, the technologies that are available to grow your business, to get more leads. And the biggest thing is the culture, in my opinion, the culture that's created here that's expansive across borders, where you're collaborating with agents around the world that are willing to help you because they're shareholders in the company. They want to see the stock go up. So now for the first time, when you want information from one of these big teams or these big wigs like you guys, all of a sudden you can get it because they want to give it to you because they're a shareholder. Instead of having to pull out your credit card, all you got to do is pick up your phone and say, hey, Cliff, man, I hear you have an incredible listing presentation. Would you be willing to share that with me? And you're going to share it with me because you want to see our stock grow. And you just don't get that culture in the other companies out there. I've never seen it. And it's pretty incredible here at EXP.
Well, it really is. And Scott, you know, you've been with the company, I guess, did you say a little over 4 years now? Is that about right?
That's correct.
Okay. I mean, you've done exceptionally well. You've got is that your winter home in Scottsdale? And how do you split your time up now? You're in Puerto Rico about half the year, and is it Phoenix or Scottsdale where your other house is?
Yeah, I have a place in Scottsdale, and of course, I still have a place in Texas. And so, yeah, you know, it's splitting time with 3 places, and I'm thinking about spending 2 months in Colorado this summer. So,
Nice.
you know, again, when you can work from anywhere, you can be anywhere. So, you know,
Right.
To me, it's all about climate, right? It's climate, friends, and family. Who do I want to go see? Who do I want to go hang out with? Maybe it's Plano with you guys soon, or maybe we'll meet somewhere, right, and hang out for a while. We'll work and do what we do. But the most important thing to me is I don't like cold weather. And so I'm going to avoid it like the plague and always go where it's warm.
So before at the intro of the show, I mentioned that we were going to sort of talk about how to earn or work your way into the 3 critical freedoms: location freedom, time freedom, and financial freedom. And really, you know, if you're a Warren Buffett fan, I started to say Jimmy Buffett, looking at your view there, but Warren Buffett said that if you can't learn how to make money at night, then you're going to wind up working your whole life. And so how important is being able to create passive income, Scott, in achieving those 3 critical freedoms that we all seek out?
I don't know. As far as I know, and that's it's just a matter of, you know, figuring out ways to create money and leveraging time, because as long as it's dependent upon your time and your energy to go out and trade time for money, you're always going to be in a position where you're vulnerable. And you know, we all have to do that at times in our life. I get it. But while you're doing that, you should be looking for ways to create passive income and look at us where we are now. Not only passive income, but diversified passive income, because some markets are going to get hit a lot stronger than others, right? So if you have income that's coming from multiple states or multiple countries, now you're going to sleep a lot better at night, knowing that maybe when some markets are down, other markets are up, and your income isn't as affected. It isn't, I said as infected, that's a good word for today, but as affected as much as it would be if you're just solely dependent on your income being driven from one location.
And so when we talk about the passive income at EXP, I think both of us have grown our revenue group so that we have income. I literally have income coming in from, I think, almost every state and most, if not all, the Canadian provinces. So that really does help diversify. Just as though you were holding a stock portfolio, you wouldn't want to be all loaded up on high tech or railroads or one or the other. and this does diversify your income like you're talking about. What a great thing. So it's kind of almost like a built-in diversification, actually, when you look at it this way. So are you, let's fast forward here a little bit. I want to get your take, and before we run out of time, Scott, I want to get your take and your look at where you think things are going to be with this company, agents. And I know we're just talking off the cuff here. We're not trying to, hold a gun to your head, but tell us what you feel this company is going to be looking like in 3 years. And did we lose you there? I just see the top of your head. Did we lose?
I think we still have him on the line. It may just be a connectivity.
Yeah.
We can see your hairline.
Did the dadgum Russians are at it again?
They're at it again.
That's what we'll blame it on this time.
Is that what it is? Scott, can you hear us okay? Because I really wanted to hear your answer to this question. Yeah, there he is. Now he's back.
Yeah, I just got you back. Yeah, I lost you for a minute.
Yeah,
I'm on an island. I apologize.
That's okay. Were you able to hear the question that I asked you?
I was not.
Okay. So what I wanted to do is let's go ahead and again, without holding a gun to your head, and we're not making projections, on behalf of the company, but I'd like to hear your take on where you think we're going to be as a company, as an industry in 3 years. If you could pull out your crystal ball, what are you looking at?
Well, you are putting me on the spot today, aren't you, my friend? I think that the sky's the limit. I mean, can this company, we're talking about EXP, can it surpass 100,000 agents? I've been saying we'll blow through 100,000 agents pretty quickly. I think once we expand internationally, we're going to see this thing really take off. Other markets around the world are going to really pick up on what we're doing here. The downturn is certainly going to explode our business. I believe that 100%. The unknown is all the other people that are getting into the real estate world, right? I believe the franchise model is dead. I don't think the franchise model has any chance of being around 3 to 4 years from now. You can say I'm crazy, but I truly believe that it's just a matter of time. It is blockbuster. I don't think there's any way that model can survive. But there are going to be challenges. I mean, we are going to have to remain to be nimble. There are a lot of other people entering the real estate world. It's becoming a technology world, and disruption can happen like that. And you've got Amazon, you've got Google, you've got Zillow, and who knows who's around the country, or around the corner. But I do believe we are in the perfect position to explode, and I do believe as an industry, we're going through some changes, but I think the real estate agent is always going to be relevant as long as they continue to provide value to the consumer. And so those that don't provide value are going to get washed up. Those that do provide value are going to continue to grow and build. And I can't imagine being in a more exciting opportunity than where we sit right now, Cliff.
Yeah, Scott, I have to agree with you. And just to echo your point, a lot of people thought that real estate agents would go by way of the travel agents, but, we're not selling seats on an airplane. We're not selling, 5-day cruises. We're involved in a process that has hundreds of variables that we have to manage on each transaction, and each one's different. And if you don't manage a particular variable correctly, it can result in a significant financial setback to your client. And so I agree with you totally. Being the largest transaction for 90% of the population of the U.S., that is the sale of a home, there's no question that it's always going to require somebody with a good mind, well-trained, and a lot of wisdom, to be able to navigate those waters and get the best outcome from their client. So I totally agree with you. I think that, this company being so agent-focused and agent-driven, what's the the old agent success obsession that we have now around this company is just crazy. I think that we're about to see the real synergy of putting all these agents together pulling in the same direction. And that's why, EXP, I think of the word exponential, which kind of describes the growth we're having now, but it's also going to describe how we're going to lead this industry through education, training, and just this new business model to really keep the agent at the forefront of the whole process here. So I'm excited. Scott, we are out of time. I hate to say this, and I know you got to get back to the beach there, but is there anything that you'd like to share with our audience? Typically, we've got a lot of agents that are out there watching today that are at various stages through their careers. You made some very good points about, being consistent, hanging in there, steadfast. What would be a great piece of advice that you could close our show with today?
Well, I think as real estate agents right now, or as anyone that's out there in the throes of what we're going through, it's real easy to get hung up in the fear. And it's real easy to go to a fear-based mindset. And, that's typically where we go when something like this happens. And I think it's more important than ever that the most important real estate in the world is that real estate right between your ears. And, it really determines who you are. It determines your success, and it determines, your overall well-being. And so I just say we be a force for good. We be a force for help. We continue to, as mankind, continue to help each other through this and support each other. And, we're all in this together. And, just do what you can do to prepare. But at the same time, don't get caught up in the fear. Don't stop living. Continue to have fun. Continue to love one another, to continue to be the best person you can be, and to continue to be the best agent on the other side of the transaction. And that's what I always say to my people. Always be the best agent on the side of the transaction, and you'll win every single time you do that.
Well, great words of wisdom, Scott. Thank you so much. It's like Zig said, you're either coming out of a storm, in a storm, or headed out of a storm. But regardless, life is full of storms, and they do pass. So, Scott, it's been such a pleasure to have you on the show today. I can't tell you how great it is, and I know our audience has got a lot to think about now after hearing you speak, and we're so excited to be partnered with you in this wonderful business, and hope that we get to spend a little bit of time down with you in Puerto Rico soon.
Let's do it. I can't wait. Thanks for having me, guys. It's been a real pleasure, as always.
All right, Scott, you take care. Tell everybody down in the mastermind hello for us down there, if you would, please, sir. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is a wrap. Thanks again, Scott. What a wonderful show, Mr. Freeman.
I'm speechless. It was great.
Yeah, Hall of Famer right here. I'll tell you, great to have Scott on the show.
And Scott, if you don't mind, can you go ahead at the end of when we're done here, can you put in your information?
We'll ask Scott if you want to reach out to Scott. We'll ask Scott to drop his contact information in the comments. Be sure to check that out.
Yeah.
All right. In the meantime, get out, stay safe, good golf, good tennis. It's 86 degrees here in Dallas right now, and it's too damn hot for the coronavirus. So get out and have some fun. We'll see you next week on Cliff's Notes.